and welcome back to Backstage at the Clubrooms, the podcast where we lift the curtain on everything that happens before, during and after the chaos on stage. Today's episode's a bit special because it's a reunion. Bleak Expectations has closed, the dust has settled, and crucially, we can now talk about it without whispering, "Oh, I can't say that yet," every 5 minutes. I'm joined once again by the director of Bleak Expectations, Scott. Welcome back.
I'm back. Hello again.
So, looking back, the last time you were on the podcast, we were actually chatting before the first rehearsal had even happened, which feels like...
Yesterday.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but...
It doesn't feel like it's been and gone, and we're moved on to something else already.
I know,
at all.
It's mental, because there were scripts everywhere. Everybody was a bit panicky. We weren't really sure what was going to happen in the rehearsals. Now that it's over, like, how does it feel for you, like, looking back at it? Like...
In terms of the process, or just everything?
Just in general, like, how are you feeling? It's over.
I feel free. I feel like I've got a bit of time back. But I miss it. I do. It was a long part of my life. So, you know, it was well over a year ago that I started working on it. And then the year flies by and all of a sudden it's here. You're on it, you're rehearsing, auditioning, rehearsing, everything. And then all of a sudden it's stopped.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's it, it's done.
Sort of feels like the rug's been like pulled from under you at the end, doesn't it? It's sort of like, and now what do I do with my life?
Yeah, I go back and see my wife and kids and actually spend some time at home and do jobs. I've got a lot of jobs to do now.
I spoke to your wife in the bar after one of the shows, and she was like, I have 1,000,001 things on a list for him to do now that he's got his life back. I was like, oh great, I'm sure he'll love that.
Yeah, but I'm back.
Did it become what you wanted it to be?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that goes down to all the planning that, you know, I put into it. I knew what I wanted, and yeah, I think we delivered. I think we delivered a really, really, really good show. Yeah. Very funny, very popular, well-attended show. And yeah, I was massively proud of myself.
As you should have been.
I don't often, and I've said this a few times to a few people, I don't often feel proud of myself, right? It like really sounds really wrong, but like that I was proud of myself. I really, really was. And I'm obviously proud of everybody that was on stage and everybody that was helping backstage and just making it all come together. But yeah, ultimately, I was so happy that what I had thought would happen happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so, like, I think it's really missed, like, the directors on the show week, because obviously once you get into the theatre, you hand over to the stage manager. And effectively, like, you're done.
I'm done.
Like, that's you done. Like, you're finished. You're sorted.
Come to Tuesday, I was like, okay, I can't influence this anymore. And what I didn't want to do was message people. Like, after I'd watched the show on live, I didn't want to send somebody a message say, oh, make sure you step forward, or make sure you stay there. I just wanted to leave it.
You didn't want to micro direct.
I'd done everything. you know, and I had to hand it over at some point, and I got to actually just sit back and enjoy it. And that's what I did. You know, I sat in various different parts of the theatre. So I was hanging over the edge at one point.
It became such a fun game for the cast, because there was obviously, when you're acting and you're on stage, your goal is to make as little contact with the audience as possible. So you find a place to look that is usually in the Georgian Theatre, for me, the Shakespeare box. But then I usually look at where it actually says the word Shakespeare, and then I'll look up to the like ceiling lights if I need to look upwards. But for some reason, it became a game for the cast to be like, where's Scott?
Find him.
Because it was like
we found him first.
Yeah, literally, it was like, where is he? Where's he gone? And like one day you were up in the gallery, hanging over at the front, and I just, spoiler, I died. And I was on...
No spoilers, it's fine.
No spoilers, it's fine.
If you missed it, you missed it.
I was going to say, well, if you want to know how I died, you're too late.
Yeah.
But I was on the floor looking up, and all I could see as I was looking, and I was just like lying there, and I was like, had like half an eye open, because that's just how I'd fallen. And I was like, stop.
Was I smiling?
Yeah, you were just
I looked happy, that's fine.
Maniacal, like grinning at my demise. But it was just so funny. It became like a game of where's Scott, and people come off stage and come to me backstage and go, oh my God, Scott's at the back in the gallery. I'm like, okay, cool, thanks
Scott's
for giving me
not an ogre, by the way.
Yeah, well, it was just, they were like, I think they just told me, because then I think they thought that they won. I don't know, I didn't give them a prize.
It was the game, yeah.
It was the game.
The backstage game.
It was the backstage game.
What was really, and I did, and what was really weird about being a director and just handing it over, I see zero of the backstage chaos, lack of chaos, whatever it might be.
Chaos.
And because I'm just sat in the pit or I'm sat in the gallery, just watching, just looking for things. Is that right? Do we need to move that? That person needs to be further forward. I can't see that person very well. I need to just tweak them a little bit. And you spend all your time looking at what you can see. You have no idea what's going on backstage.
Yep.
And I know this show was a very backstage heavy show. So
we were busy, guys and gals back there.
In the club room, we had the pleasure of seeing everybody, and right, okay, that's got to come off on stage left, that's got to come off on stage right. When that's there, make sure that's round there, and make sure don't miss taking that across. But there's curtains, and I'm just hopeful that that's all going on and everything's all right. And obviously that's why we have runs in the theatre before we open up, because if it doesn't work, we've got to work it out. But I didn't get to see any of that, and that's the sort of sadness for me on it, was that I didn't get to be backstage while I would have loved to, maybe one night just to sit back, sit in the museum or something like that in the background and then just watch it all from behind. But I wanted to watch it every single night because I didn't want to miss it, because it was such a great play.
And as you shouldn't, backstage, we had an amazing team backstage. There was
Shout out to the team.
We had Amber on props, who meticulously tracked down every single prop, and if you saw the show, you know how many there were, and kept everything super organised. She knew the whereabouts of every single thing in that theatre.
I heard she was just handing things out to people. She had them ready. As soon as anyone went to the props table to grab something, I'm on in a second. Where is it? Literally, it was in her hand. Yeah. Ready to give. And then
when people would come off, she'd be there ready to receive. She was brilliant. So shout out to Amber. There was Bryn, Karen, Jack and myself all backstage moving furniture. We had ironing boards, baskets, we had bushes, we had cannons, we had fonts, we had multiple swords that broke, and then we had to quickly find a second one. There was one night where I think maybe it was second night where I was stood with two swords in the wings whilst they were doing the sword bread fight, because I was just in case. I said to Mike before we went on, who played Gently Benevolent, I said, right, I've got a spare sword here and I've got a spare sword just in case it goes wrong. And he was like, okay. I was like, if it goes wrong, just make something up and go, and alas, no worry, I have a backup sword and I will produce one. He was like, sound, perfect.
Well, I actually made, I think, 20 bread swords in the end. And I think my car still smells of silver spray paint, because I transported them into the theatre on the day, because I was just, adamant that, if one of them breaks, it's fine, we've got a spare. Yeah. But if two of them breaks, we've got another spare. Yeah. And I had to make sure there was enough. And I think obviously there was in the end. I don't think we had any major issues. I think maybe the last night it went a bit awry ever so slightly. I think the sword missed the sword, and then it's just what do I do? There
were more issues with the real sword, the real sword than the bread sword, I feel. I feel like more breakages of the actual swords
we had two breakages of swords.
And that wasn't even counting the breakages we had in the club rooms.
Yeah.
It was...
But we had to change it. And obviously, for anyone who saw it, Gently Benevolent has a sword fight at the end against Pip with his bread sword. And now he's supposed to have a sword stick. So basically, he just walks around waiting to get married as trash can. And he's supposed to be walking with this stick. Yeah. I think maybe 2 rehearsals before we were due to go into the theatre, the sword stick snapped in rehearsals. I felt everybody's eyes, that wasn't on stage, just turn and look at me, because everyone was laughing and I wasn't. Because straight away my cogs were whirring, right, what do we do? Because we borrowed this one off Charles. Charles, I don't know yet, but your sword stick broke, sorry. I don't think I've told you. And in fact, I'm back in the club room for the first time since, and I'm just making sure it's still here somewhere. But yeah, the handle snapped on one of the last rehearsals. And I'm there thinking, what do we do? And we're trying to fashion out a different one to
Becky
use.
And I were downstairs for ages trying to finding
the right swords to go. And then even when we took, we decided to change it in the theatre and use the gloved hand from the side and hand a sword across. And in the end, I think Mike just went off and got a sword. Yeah. But even, I think on the dress rehearsal, it might have even been one of the runs, we had the wobbliest, rubberiest sword, and I could see him fighting, and the sword was just like all over the place. And I was like, we've got to change that. Like, please change that. Go across to the club room tomorrow and get a different sword, so at least it can have a decent battle. Yeah. At least it can take on a bread sword, like without.
It's really bad like when a bread sword beats the sword.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because speaking of the rehearsals, like it wasn't an easy show really to rehearse because it was very fast. It was funny, hilarious, and it was just that was such a barrier.
Do you know what changed? Was when I introduced the unharumble points.
Oh yes, okay, so come on, fill us in.
So in rehearsals, and this is something I learned from Jim Brown years ago. He used to always do it with the shows. He always used to do a point system, like if you messed up, like not messed up as in, or you fluffed your line or something like that in rehearsal, but if you corpsed, if you were chatting when you shouldn't have been, if you forgot to bring a prop on, all that sort of stuff. So I thought, right, I'm going to need to do something because we're books down. We're just making sure that everyone's doing what they need to be. They're at the right place because we want these rehearsals now to run nice and quickly and seamlessly. So, right, I'm going to put this unharumble point system. It might still be on a pinboard up there. I don't know.
It was the other week.
Is
it
gone?
I don't know if it's been taken down.
So yeah, in fact, I called it Harrumble points at first, and then Becky corrected me and said, actually, it should be Harrumble points, unharumble points. And I was like, no, it's Harrumble points. And I thought about it, and
everybody sort of was like, no, Scott.
I was open to a mistake, and I was like, right, okay, actually, they're unharumble points. And Becky, there's your first one for calling me out. Yeah. So I had this point system, and like so quickly, everyone stopped corpsing, and they stopped messing around, and they stopped like forgetting where to come on from in the main. Like there were still some,
but they were more like innocent, like, what am I doing? Rather than just, I don't know, I'm just going to come on from here.
So yeah, I think that really helped. Oh, no one wanted that. The prize at the end, the booby prize.
Yeah, because so this is the thing that you've neglected to mention. So not only were there the unharumble points, but there was the overarching idea, the threat that at the after show party, the person with the most unharumble points would be presented with something.
I had no idea what it was at that point.
No,
it was just
we all knew he was bluffing, but equally you just can't be too sure.
No. I knew I wanted to get something.
It's that instant like primary school technique, isn't it? Of like the sticker reward chart. It's like if you want nice things, these are the rules you have to go for. If you don't want punishment, this is. I remember
Coral saying to me a few weeks ago. She said, "I was really gutted that like you didn't give any prizes for the person who got the least because." I'm such a swat. I really wanted it.
See, the overachievers of the group, we were waiting for our like gift of our. I say our, like I was ever gonna stand a chance. Like I was up there.
There's a list somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh, that needs publishing. It needs.
Everyone needs to know.
And then he got to the after show party, and he was too scared to tell everybody who had actually got the most. He didn't want to humiliate anyone because he's too nice. Then he was like, "Oh, actually." I'm just going to get the youngest member of the cast a gift because good job, mate. And I'm like, what?
However,
where's the humiliation?
To be fair, he did walk through the curtain a couple of times in the dress rehearsals, and I'd said that was worth like 5 to 10 points. If you go off through a wall, that you shouldn't go off.
Yeah.
So technically, he did win it anyway.
Right, okay. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, Aaron, you got the unharumble points, and we presented him. So Aaron played Harry Biscuit, and for those that watched, he was obsessed with his swans and his, assembling his swans to save the day. So we got him a swan hat. So it's like almost looks like a tea cozy, doesn't it? Like a teapot cover with a swan on it. It's great,
beautiful, and he wore it for the rest of the party,
as he should.
Proudly, as he should indeed. And like so, when the rehearsal sort of started going, and obviously even before books down, like everything just seemed, obviously you'd planned for every situation with the spreadsheets as mentioned in previous podcasts, but everything sort of went really smoothly. I can't remember like any massive
there were, to be fair, there weren't major hiccups. The only thing that we had to change when we got into the theatre was the court scene. I'd been thinking about it for a while, just in case the screen that hid the jury, just in case it didn't go down the wing properly.
Yeah.
And we'd had it set up ever so slightly different, where the judges' table was right at the back. And if you saw it, you know that's where the jury ended up, and the judges' table came a bit further down. We spent a bit of time on the get-in, just moving the screen in and off the sides. and something just didn't sit right. And so we changed the setting of that and played about with it a little bit and made it work. And I think it worked so much better.
And as well, like the setup of the actual stage, not even just the ease for us guys backstage, but when you looked at the stage setup, it just looked more cohesive.
It looks better. It looks,
and it was one of them where we were like, oh, why didn't we think of that
the judge
before?
should have been further down. And this is one of the things, like when I'd read it and gone through it and worked out how it was all going to be, that was how I pictured the scene. That's how I'd worked it out. So we'd stuck with that from rehearsal to the theatre, and that's how it was.
Yeah.
And it was only, like I say, it was only the worry of getting the screen off that I thought I need a contingency plan. So if that doesn't work, how's it going to look? And like I say, it just made sense for Lee as the judge to be further downstage and be seen more, because obviously Harlan Trashcan was wearing a giant Stetson as well, so he was completely blocked. If you're on the sort of looking at the stage, if you're on the left hand side, looking at it, he was completely blocked. So it just made so much sense. But other than that, I don't think anything major went wrong. There was no issues. Mike got hit a couple of times with the bin.
Yeah,
like,
good one, Archie.
Properly. Added to the risk assessment thereafter.
Yep.
The
Standard.
the props we sourced quite well. Nothing major.
Yeah, and which
hiccups,
was amazing,
which was
really.
great.
And it was testament to your planning and your direction as well, which is amazing. Like, it was brilliant how seamlessly it felt from both a cast and crew perspective. It just ran so easily in the rehearsals that actually when we got into the theatre, it was like, this is easy, like we're doing it, we're all right, we sound like we know what we're doing, let's just do it. Like, I think by the second rehearsal in the theatre, we were like ready.
We're ready, yeah, absolutely.
We were like, we'd done the get-in, and even to be fair, after the get-in, I think at a push, we could have done
could have done the show the next day. Yeah.
Because I think we were like, actually, bar the wobbly sword, but we were genuinely like, yeah, we've got this.
There was nothing missing from getting in and getting on with it. Just obviously the lights. The only thing was the lights, because like obviously Tony had to work on the lights and get that all, and that took a couple of days, couple of rehearsals to get it all sorted. But other than that, like the actual acting, the moving of things around, getting things on and off stage, was fine. I think we tweaked something for the second, like the dress rehearsal, in terms of who was bringing what on from what side, just to make it easier for the backstage lot. But one of my worries was that we wouldn't have had enough time in the theatre before we opened, because normally we have an extra day. Normally we only do 3 shows, but this time we did 4. So we got in on a Sunday, we had Monday, Tuesday, and then we were opening. Whereas normally you have the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you have plenty of time. And my worry was we wouldn't have enough time. But in the end, we did, and it was like I say, we did so much here, and that's why I was so adamant of getting full runs, probably earlier in the schedule than
movement and
normally would.
rehearsal of like moving the furniture around. It sounds so mundane, and it sounds like such an easy, simple thing. But there's been a lot of productions where, like I've been in, not just at RADS, and like where we've not really rehearse the set changes as much until we've got the stage and everything set and ready, and we've moved into wherever we're going. And it's very much a thing of like, oh, but now we're in the theatre, how does that move? And it's like,
and
actually,
who's bringing it on? Who's taking it off? And
it's like one of those where it's like, oh, we've never actually choreographed it. Whereas from the get-go, like literally from blocking, we as a backstage team knew exactly where we all needed to be. Bryn and I sat and did a working lunch, and we worked out a list of exactly where everybody should be backstage at every single point in the show. And we knew that from week 3 where we all were. And I think having that like long amount of time to rehearse it, like practice the movements and get used to carrying like awkward benches and like moving stuff around, it just makes it so much easier. So when we went into the theatre, like I say, it was just seamless. Like there was
the scene changes and the backstage stuff. I don't know whether I said this on the last time I was here. Like, I needed to make sure that was as important as the casting. As the people on stage, the backstage team were as important, because I've been to shows, I've been in shows where it's done by a stagehand, comes on, headset on and stuff like that, and you can see them in the blackout, and they're just moving furniture, and it just, I feel like it drops ever so slightly. Audience might not think that. They might think, okay, fine, I'm just waiting for the next scene. Right, it's set up and off we go. Now, I went to see Wicked years ago, and I always remember there was a suitcase. I think it's when she turns up to the university. There's a suitcase that goes from one side of the stage to the other and off. And you just watch it, and it's all taken part by the people who are on stage, and it's part of the action. And it goes off, and it's just gone. And you're like, oh, well, you're an empty stage now. And that's what I wanted. I wanted, as much as possible, the cast members bringing things on. So like Sir Philip Binns bringing the table on. People are bringing the font on, and like gravestones and stuff like that. They're doing it themselves rather than someone coming and set it up and then go, right, your time to sort of go and hide behind a gravestone.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure everything was done like that. So I needed that strong backstage team, and I was adamant that I would get it, and I got it. I was really, really, really happy and impressed with everyone that was backstage. But that's why we did it so early, because I was so keen on making sure that the scene changes were seamless, as seamless as possible.
Absolutely.
And it all worked from that point of view. And I was keen to spend as much time focusing on those things as I was on the acting itself.
Absolutely. And I think another thing that really helps with that as well is the fact that all of the backstage team were dressed in period clothing as well. So all of us had a costume, even though we weren't necessarily on that part of the play. It's like myself, I didn't come on till Act 2, but in the entirety of Act 1 I was in period clothing ready, so that if something went wrong, like one of the nights, Agnes's apron didn't go fully over the screen, and it was like half sticking out, and like it was just too far for me to just grab it from behind the curtain. So I would ditch the headset, and I was like, right, I'm going to go get it. And they're like, all right, okay. So I ditched the headset and literally walked from one side to the other, picking up the apron on my way. And literally it would have just looked like a passerby walking through the streets of wherever we were at the time.
To be fair, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
So,
there we go. See? He didn't even know. I got away with it, guys. I got away with it.
I noticed the apron not going over, because obviously I was watching every single night, and I could see when things might not have gone how we'd planned them, but they were still going well. But I didn't notice that you went and picked up when you shouldn't have done.
We literally we were like, right, is it going to have to come off? Did it come off with the other cast? No, right, I'm just going to run across and grab it. And it was fine. And that's the benefit of having us ready all the time just to pop on and grab something. What was the moment in the show that you saw that you were like, oh, that's my favourite bit? Now that it's like come together when you were watching it, was there any particular moment that you were like, yeah, that's it, that's my best bit?
I think my favourite bit was, well, there's probably two. It's either when Elijah as Monsieur Boulange-Bihan just walks along slow-paced, sidestepping all the way up the side of the stage, just keeping eyes on the two boys that are on there, slowly, and then off, because that's not in the script at all, and that's just something else like that would work really, really well and be funny. He's supposed to be a weird thing, and it just says, he looks at them and goes off. And I was like, no, I need to make something a bit more of that. Yeah, really milk it. And to be fair to Elijah, in rehearsals, not at one point in rehearsal did they manage it without laughing.
Yeah.
And like even in the theatre for the first couple of nights, it was like, you've got to keep a straight face. And
we were taught, so behind the scenes, before Elijah went on to do that part, he's gonna kill me for telling you this. We were stood backstage because I was there to hand something to somebody, and we were stood in the wings, and he was like, oh, I can't do it, I'm gonna laugh. And I'm like, no, you're fine. It's like, think of sad things, and we'd literally then be rattling off
telling
sad
all
things.
the sad things that you can.
So we'd be like, think of sad things, think of things we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like and then he'd be like, right, yeah, I'm good. Straight face, and he'd go on and come back off.
And when he came off at the other end, he'd just have a big smile on his face.
He'd come off and he'd just look at me and smirk, and I'd be like, sounds, good job, mate.
Yeah, so I really liked that bit because it was non-verbal, and it's just like you have to do it and make it work. And the awkwardness of it was great.
Yeah.
But then I also loved the Caitlin's death scene at the end when she's reaching out to Jesus, and there's this warm, there's warm fire waiting for you and all that sort of stuff.
Really going
and
now.
just, she's going down and down, going now, nearly there. Really going this time. And it's just like the pauses were great. And then I just, in that scene, when Lee is being the vicar Reverend Hard Thrasher, and she says, and I can see Jesus, and he goes, "You lucky cow."
It was
I just
brilliant.
love how he did that and just jumped in and said it, and then like the scene just carries on.
The timing of that scene though was so funny because it's a really long scene, really. In the script, it's a long scene, and it's a lot of like. There's lots of different movement of different characters coming on and off, and there's a lot happening, and that still the pace of it, even where the dramatic pauses were, it never dragged. Like it never felt like it was going on for too long. Like,
and what was
perfect.
good about the cast that I had, and it didn't take that much for me to say. Sometimes I would say like you're not in the center of the scene here, but someone else is. But you're still on stage. You need to do something. You need to like chat between yourselves or something like that. Be involved in it, so you're not just sat watching. But like most of them would just sort of come up with something themselves. So like Mike is benevolent. He's just sat on the bench watching it all happen, just with this big smirk on his face, and he's just taking it all and he's loving what he sees here, and
so funny.
just smiling all the way through. So just all those little bits as well, for me were great.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be back in a minute with some more Bleak chat. Fancy supporting RADS and getting a little something back? Join the RADS Friends scheme. It's a great way to help keep live theatre thriving in Richmond. As a friend, you'll get a monthly newsletter, your name in our show programmes, and exclusive access to our club nights and activities. All that for just £12 a year or £20 per couple, due every 1st of June. Whether you're a current member or just a loyal audience regular, we'd love to have you as a friend of RADS. To find out more or join, just contact our Friends and Membership Secretary, Gregan Davis. You'll find all the details on our website or in the show notes below. Thanks for supporting local theatre. Now, back to the episode. Welcome back. So, one thing that really came across, I think, from the audiences as well and from feedback is how tight-knit the company sort of became and the cast came. Mm-hmm. So from a director's point of view, like, when did you know that the cast had clicked? Like, was it show week or did you know quite early on that everybody was quite nicely gelled together?
No, I think early on. We didn't have everybody coming to every rehearsal. So there were times when people were missing chunks that they weren't in. So there's like the schoolboy scene, for instance, only required 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
So the people who were family members, Poppy and Pip and whatnot, they weren't there for that. So you would gel the little groups first of all, and then when people started to come for we might do scenes 1 to 7 all of a sudden instead of scenes 1 to 3. Yeah. People were starting to watch it and get involved in it then. And I think once we got to the point of we've ran it all now, and now we're going to start extending it. You could see that everyone was in it together. Yeah. So it was fairly early on, and I never ever had any worries about anybody in the cast at all. You might, directors might, worry about one particular person, or I'm not really sure about that. I never did. Yeah. And if anybody did need any sort of coaching or, actually project a little bit, do that. There was enough people in the team, I call it a team, that would help each other out. Yeah, absolutely. There's like, you, for instance, you obviously came on and you had to do a Cockney accent. Oh, and you were, you said straight away, like, I can't do that. And you tried the first couple and you weren't great at it. But then you sat with Lee, was it Lee? Yeah, it was Lee, yeah. Told you how to just change the words and learn the words in a certain spelling. Yeah. And then the next time you're like, fine, I've done it. Yeah. And that's what we had. We had people that were always willing to help each other. Like, Mike helped Caitlin with some of her delivery, etc. Yeah. So everyone was chipping in with each other, which was great for me because I could sort of just sit back and I want to make it all happen. And I've got this tight team that are helping each other. It's not all reliant on me to do this or do that. Everyone was doing it, and that wasn't on my spreadsheet, so I couldn't even fit it in anyway. No, so you couldn't have done. Thank God. But no, absolutely, and it was such a team feel. I feel like everybody. Yeah, everybody just got on really well. There was no sort of I don't know what the word is, but it was just felt very natural. Yeah. The first time we were all in the same room together as well, when we did start doing say Act 1 all the way through, the first time everyone was in that room together, it didn't feel like it was a bit oh, right, okay, we've not really spoken before. Yeah. It very quickly became everyone was okay, we're all best mates now. Let's go. Let's do it. And I just loved that sort of camaraderie. And even though, as I just said there were bits where, you know, you guys are in for the first few scenes, you're in for the next 5 scenes, you're then back in for this one. It never ever felt like, oh, well, I've got my little group.
Yeah,
it's fine. It was
never
like,
went clicky.
Yeah, everyone was in it together. Because like I say, as soon as we started doing Act 1, like, yeah, you come off there, but you're going to come back on soon, but you're in with that person, but then you're in with that person. Everybody was in a scene with everybody, I think, at some point. Like, you know, you get some plays where you're not in scenes with certain people.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in some before where, like, I'm in the whole play. Well, not the whole play, but, like, I'm part of the whole play, but I was never on stage with that person.
In Antigone, when I had Lee on the podcast, we were talking about when we did Antigone last March, and we were really excited about Bleak because we did Antigone together, and yet we never interacted.
No,
ever. So the whole play, we were both there in both acts, and we were both there all the time, and yet we never actually addressed each other at all the entire time.
Bleak Expectations, you definitely did.
And we definitely did, and we were so excited because we were like, yay, we're actually...
You were his charge.
And I was like,
Her
oh my God.
She's a lady.
She's a lady.
Absolutely.
Do not forget.
Yeah.
But like, it was beautiful because we were like, yay, we actually get to interact this time. And that's gorgeous because you do sometimes have it where you've got a principal part, but you actually don't interact with other principals very much, or if at all. So it's really nice to... Everybody got to have a bit of time with everybody this time, which was really nice.
So I did Midsummer Night's Dream a few years ago, and Rachel was in that, as she was in this one.
Yeah.
And she was Titania, and I was Theseus, and our paths never crossed.
Yeah.
We were never on stage together at all. But you're in the same sort of group together. But this one was just so nice for everybody's paths to cross at some point in the play.
It was lovely. Right, so come on then, talk to me about opening night. What was going through your head then when the lights went up? What was your what was your reaction? What were you most looking forward to? What turned out to be the best part of the opening night? Because I actually overheard you talking to people in the theatre. So I was like, before the show started...
During the show, was it?
No. Of course not. It's bad etiquette.
Quiet, director.
But like, I think it was in the interval and before the show, I was stood like in the wings near the piano store, and I was like,
okay,
here, Scott. And we looked on the monitor and we could just see the back of your head talking to someone in the audience.
I can't remember where I was on opening night.
And I was like, oh my God, he's fully going like, this is my play, like I did this, isn't it really good? So what were you thinking? What was your thing?
So I remember when I did Crackers Christmas last year as the one act that I did. I remember being nervous as hell, like watching it, because it was my first one I'd done. I was more nervous watching it than I was ever being on stage because I knew the script and I just wanted everybody to get it all right. And like I was just every time something dropped, I was like, oh no, that should have been better. That should have been that. So I was surprised that I wasn't like that as well. Weirdly, I was just so calm with it. And I was just so excited to see it with an audience. Yeah. Because
we all found it hilarious.
Yeah, it was
you never know what the audience is going to think.
And they laugh in places that you maybe not expecting. Are the guys that are on stage, are they going to sort of choke a little bit because there is an audience and, mess up the lines and stuff like that? We didn't get a prompt all week, which is great. I was really, really impressed that we didn't get a prompt at all.
Poor Lynn was made redundant.
Yeah, which is, that's an ideal thing for a prompt to be. Don't get involved. So I had a cautious optimism. I was just very much, I knew they'd deliver, and I was just looking forward to getting those laughs, and I knew those laughs would come. And I I just knew it was, and I kept on selling it to everyone. It's so funny. It's just a funny play. Yeah. So funny. And even my wife said to me, like, are you worried that you keep on saying it's funny, but what if they don't laugh? And I was like, I'm not worried. I really am not worried because it is so stupid. You can't help but laugh.
Yeah, because even if you don't find like the obvious joke bits funny, because they're playing it so straight, and it's so stupid. Like, you look at it and you're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like, that's funny in itself. It's farcical without intending to be.
Correct. That's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is exactly that. You can't help but laugh. Like, we were quite surprised backstage when, like, within the cast, because like there would be certain bits, the cast's favourite moments, and they'd be waiting, and they'd be stood like at the top of the dressing rooms waiting, like, come on, it's going to get a really good laugh. It's going to get, and then nothing came, and we were like,
but that's funny.
That's hilarious. Why didn't they get it? One thing that really bothered me that didn't get a good enough laugh was Saw shoes.
Oh yeah.
That bothered me greatly because Coral did an absolutely fabulous job, and in the rehearsals, it was one of them things that never got old. Every single time she did it, I was howling. It was so funny. All right, gents. And it was just one of them where, like, and it was just so funny. The delivery, the timing, the accent, everything was just perfect. And yet it really didn't get that much of a reaction. And me and Amber were stood in the wings with various props, and we were like, oh. Every night we're like, tonight's going to be the night. Oh. I was expecting better for that. And it was just really funny to see what they found funny, because what they found funny necessarily wasn't our funny bits.
There was a lady left at the end of one of the shows, and she said, "Oh, that bit about the otters was a little bit too close to the bone. It was a bit too saucy for me." And then must have been her husband went, "Well, I liked it." And I thought that was a great way to just sum it up. It's just like, some people might find it one way, some people might go, actually, yeah, I bloody love that bit.
So funny.
And it was just like, there were some over the tops. But yeah, just going back to the question, I was just ready for it, and I was so excited for it. And I think I had people there that I knew every night, so I was able to speak to people that I knew.
Yeah.
And it was great getting their feedback, because I was like, right, interval, it's like, are you enjoying it? And they're like,
Please.
I really am, really find it funny. And I was just like, and I knew Act 2 was much funnier as well.
So funny.
And I said, great. I said, Act 2, in my opinion, is like so much funnier as well. And then, oh my God, if Act 2 is funnier than that, then I'm looking forward to it. And it was just like, it wasn't a short play, but it wasn't a long play. Do you know what I mean? It was a couple of hours. But it never, ever felt that it was really long at all.
No.
And yeah, it just
flew by.
And I was so happy that it got the reception that I felt it deserved.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, on every single night, it got that. Yeah, it was just, I was ready for it, and I enjoyed what I saw on opening night. I wasn't nervous at all, and it was quite a nice feeling not to be in that position. Yeah, just to go like, go and do it, go and enjoy it.
You've got this now. I'll enjoy.
Yeah, I'll sit back. It's over to you.
Amazing. We'll be back in 2 minutes with, as always, our quickfire round, part 2.
Uh-oh.
Looking for a fun way to spend a Monday evening? Come along to our monthly RADS Club Nights, held on the second Monday of every month at the Clubrooms. Whether you're a seasoned performer or just theatre curious, everyone's welcome, member or not. We've got all sorts of drama-filled fun, from script read-throughs to games, workshops and more. It's relaxed, it's social, it's theatrical, and we'd love to see you there. Keep an eye on our socials for times and themes, and come and join the RADS madness. Hello, welcome back. So, obviously, Scott's been on the podcast before, and his last quickfire round, he set the bar of procrastination.
Well, no, I think it was all right. I came back to one.
Yeah.
I came back to one.
He was like, it's like, can I just think about it? I'm like, no. So this time, he just said, can I come back? I went, no, absolutely not. And these questions, because we've done quickfire before, these are Bleak-related quickfires.
Okay, look.
So.
No coming back. I've got to know the answers.
Are you ready?
Yes.
No overthinking. Okay. First answer only.
Straight in.
Question number 1. What was the hardest thing about directing Bleak?
The amount of sweets I was forced to eat throughout the whole rehearsal schedule. Constant sweets on the table.
It was very hard for you,
wasn't it? It was very hard for me.
Yeah. Question 2. Funniest rehearsal moment?
Oh no, these aren't quickfire, because there's just so many of them.
I wish you could see Scott's face right now.
I'm panicking now.
He looks stressed.
Yeah, I can't give you a funniest rehearsal moment, because there was just simply so many.
Cop out.
Cop out, but it was so true.
Biggest audience laugh you weren't expecting?
I'm bad at these quick fire rounds, aren't I?
He looks pained.
No, I don't think anything. Again, because it was such a funny play, I expected laughs exactly where they came. Yeah.
Everywhere. Fine. One word to describe the cast.
Fabulous.
Right, finish this sentence. Bleak Expectations was...
fantastic and an absolute privilege.
Beautiful. Well,
I wasn't great at the quick fires.
It wasn't great, but I think it was quicker than your last quick fire.
Yeah. Well, I think, the questions were so open, I couldn't close it quick enough. That's what I'll say.
Right.
Because there were so many bits and bobs.
Naturally blaming the host.
Bleak related, I'm planning on a Bleak tattoo as well.
What?
Yep.
God.
I've got it designed and just need to get it out there.
This is news.
The word Harrumble is on there for sure. Yep.
Swans has got to be part of it.
There's a swan on there. There's a bin. There's a Victorian gentleman. There's I think I'm trying to get a bread sword in there as well, and an anvil. I think I'm trying to get all those. They're the main things.
Yeah, an anvil, a swan, Harrumble, and a bread sword are the staples.
You've got to have them in there.
They're like the four corners of the Bleak
Victorian
universe.
gentleman has to be on there as well.
Top hat.
But yes, I've got it designed. I just need to find someone to do it for me now.
That is unreal.
Yeah.
So please, can you put it on the socials when you get it?
I will. Yeah. It's only fair.
It's only fair. So keep your eyes peeled on the socials for that one. Scott, thank you so much for coming back.
You're welcome.
And for letting us properly reflect on this amazingly chaotic, exhausting and special show.
And this closes the chapter, doesn't it? Of Bleak.
Yeah. And as well, we've got our cast reunion meal.
Oh, we do have that, yeah. So it's still slightly open. So when we had the after show party, I remember closing the door. Like, everyone had gone and we'd tidied up and stuff like that. And I closed the door and I went, I don't want to close the door because then it's over. And I closed the door and I was like, right, signed off and off I go. And I drove. Sorry, I went to my car and I was like, I've left my coat at the club room. Oh, I've got a reason to go back and just soak it all in. So I went back in. I had a look around this, like all the costumes everywhere.
Yeah.
Some props were still out. And I was just like, that's it. It's the end of it now. But it was actually nice to come back and get my coat. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
And just sort of take it all in by myself. And then, it's just... yeah, been and gone, and it's something that'll stay with me permanently in terms of tattoo.
Absolutely.
Forever.
It's been lovely to look back. Now we can talk so openly about it without having like spoiler anxiety.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you so much to everyone listening. If you enjoyed the reunion episode, don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Don't forget to keep your eyes peeled on our socials as well for ticket release for our spring show, The Mirror Cracked, which the tickets should be released ready in January at some point. So keep an eye on the socials. We will let you know as soon as they're available. We'll be back soon with more backstage stories from the Clubrooms. Until then, take care. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas indeed.
And good night.
Harrumble to you all.
Harrumble.
One final Harrumble and a huzzah. Huzzah.
Huzzah.